Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because, let's be real, we're going to tackle one of the most universal, downright infuriating experiences out there. We've all been there, right? You sit down on a Sunday night, you meticulously craft this gorgeous schedule for the week ahead. Every single hour is color-coded, right down to that little seafoam green block just for inbox zero. It's a literal masterpiece of productivity. But then, Tuesday morning rolls around, and the whole shebang has completely fallen apart. Sound familiar? Well, today we're taking a structured look at exactly why this happens. We'll be diving into some seriously brilliant recent insights from productivity researcher Roya. She's actually pinpointed the core psychological reason our schedules just crumble on us. And even better, she tells us how we can finally fix them. So think about this for a second. Put yourself right back in that moment. How many times have you drafted what you thought was the perfect project timeline at work, or maybe this incredibly ambitious study schedule for a big exam, only to watch it completely unravel in real time? Just remember the emotional friction of that exact moment. You start out feeling so motivated, so in control, right? But the second a deadline slips or some totally unexpected task pops up, you instantly feel like you're failing. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and honestly, it usually just leads to us throwing the entire plan out the window in a massive fit of stress. But hey, what if the problem isn't your work ethic at all? What if the problem is the plan itself? And this brilliantly illustrates our core conflict here. On one side, we have the ideal plan, the one that only exists in our heads and on those pristine digital calendars. It's smooth, it's perfectly linear, and it's entirely predictable. Basically, it assumes we operate like well-oiled machines. But then on the other side, we have reality. And reality's bumpy. It's chaotic. It is full of sudden detours. Whether that's waking up to a flat tire, spending 3 agonizing hours trying to fix a paper jam, or, your dog deciding the Wi-Fi router looks like a fun new chew toy. The thing is, our frustration doesn't actually come from the chaos itself. It comes from the massive gap between the illusion of that perfect plan and the super messy reality of human behavior and daily life. And that brings us right to the absolute centerpiece of Roya insights. This right here is known as Gilberts Law. And the central quote is so incredibly powerful, I really want you to let it sink in for a second. The biggest problem at work is that we don't think there should be problems. Wow. It's such a deceptively simple observation, but man, it hits hard. Our unrealistic expectations are the actual root of all this frustration. We go into our days subconsciously believing that things should go exactly as planned, and then when they inevitably don't, we're shocked, absolutely shocked. But Gilbert's Law flips that entire mindset on its head. This isn't about pessimism at all. It's about vital, necessary realism. So the fundamental shift we need to make is recognizing that problems are actually the rule. They are not the exception. Roya makes this absolutely fantastic point in the source material. Obstacles are permanently baked into literally any process that involves people, decisions, and change. Honestly, if you're doing anything of value, friction is practically guaranteed. The more complex your goal is, the more likely you are to encounter some major surprises along the way. If we walk around assuming things should go smoothly, well, every single little bump feels like a personal failure or some massive disaster. And when we're constantly caught off guard by problems, we end up wasting massive amounts of energy fighting the totally wrong battle. We resist the reality of the problem instead of just, solving it. All right, moving into section 1, the impact on professional life. Let's look at how this psychological flaw specifically damages our workplaces and creates completely unproductive environments. So, what exactly happens when we ignore Gilbert's Law at work? Well, let's look at a few specific negative outcomes. First off, project planning completely overlooks contingency buffers. We just schedule things back to back to back, assuming every single task will take exactly the minimum amount of time. And second, because there's zero buffer built in, teams absolutely crumble under unexpected change. Just one delayed email can throw off an entire week's sprint. And third, and guys, this is a massive one for management, leaders end up penalizing delay rather than supporting adaptability. Because the leader assumes the plan should have worked perfectly from the get-go, they view a delay as a performance issue. They don't see it for what it really is, just a totally natural occurrence in any complex project. To actually fix our workplaces, we need to contrast our default mode with this new Gilbert's Law approach. In the default mode, what do? We react to problems with frustration and blame. Since problems are viewed as these weird exceptions, we just start pointing fingers. But with the Gilbert's Law approach, we actually expect problems. And when we expect things to go wrong, we naturally build in adaptability and slack. It completely shifts the entire workplace culture. We start to foster an environment where uncertainty isn't seen as some huge threat to our competence, but just, the normal state of doing business. Basically, you stop panicking and you start pivoting. Section 2, the impact on studying and learning. Because it turns out this overconfidence trap isn't just for corporate managers. Students fall victim to this exact same illusion when cramming for finals or planning out a whole semester. To combat this trap, the source material offers a brilliant alternative for learners. We literally have to design our systems with Slack. Let's look at some of these strategies. Number 1, build study blocks with buffer time. Please don't schedule every single minute. Leave some empty space for when a tough concept inevitably takes longer to grasp. Number 2, have backup tasks ready for those low-energy days. If you are just too exhausted to write a 10-page essay, have a backup plan to maybe organize your flashcards instead. And number 3, have clear strategies in place for catching up without going into a full-blown panic. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that learning is rarely linear. We really have to stop expecting our brains to absorb information like they're on some perfectly predictable conveyor belt. Okay, Section 3, applying Gilberts Law in daily life. Understanding the theory is great, but let's dive into exactly how you can audit and fix your own broken plans. For this next part, I want you to literally visualize your calendar for this week as we walk through these 3 steps. Step 1, look at your current plan. Really, picture it in front of you. Step 2, I want you to ask yourself a very pointed question. Where am I assuming nothing will go wrong? Seriously, look for the tightest bottlenecks. Find those brutal back-to-back meetings. Identify the tasks that demand you to be at 100% peak energy just to pull them off. And then, step 3, once you've pinpointed those super fragile points in your schedule, you add margin. So what exactly do we mean by that? Well, margin is extra time, an alternative path, or even a mindset shift that you actively build right into a plan to accommodate those expected issues. Think of it this way. Margin is literally the shock absorber for your schedule. It means giving yourself a full hour for a 45-minute task. It means knowing in advance exactly what part of a project can just be dropped if you run out of time. And perhaps most importantly, it is a huge mindset shift. It means making the decision right here, right now, that when something inevitably goes off course, you are not going to treat it as a failure. You are going to treat it as an expected, totally normal part of the journey. I want to bring us to this truly beautiful final thought from the source material. Resilient plans aren't the ones that never bend. They're the ones that bend without breaking. I love that. True productivity isn't about rigid perfection, folks. It's all about flexibility. Think about it. If your plan is made of glass, the very first tiny pebble that hits it is going to shatter the whole thing. But if your plan is made of rubber, it can absorb the impact, it can stretch, and it keeps you moving forward. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to really challenge your mindset. Look at your schedule for tomorrow. Seriously, I mean it. Pull it up as soon as we're done here. Where are you pretending nothing will go wrong? Find that exact spot, build in a little bit of margin, and just watch how much more peaceful and productive your day becomes when you finally stop fighting reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into Gilberts Law. I really hope this helps you build plans that actually work for you in the real world. Catch you next time.